What was life like growing up for you in Iraq?
Life in Iraq was very difficult. In agriculture, life in Iraq was difficult for me.
What were some of the most difficult challenges about being a young man growing up in Iraq?
It was all about a family. One always thinks of his family and how can you provide for them, for every member of the family.
And it was difficult to provide for your family?
You have to work very hard to continue to be able to make a living in Iraq.
Can you describe the town of Rawah for me? What's it like? What's that town like?
It's a small town. It's like a peninsula surrounded from three sides by a river, and it has a bridge that takes you out of town. It's a small town, maybe 17,000 people live there.
You previously applied for refugee status in Syria in 2006. Why did you want to leave Iraq? What was propelling you to leave Iraq?
Actually, the security situation was very unstable in Iraq. So I was scared for my family, so I took them all and I applied for refugee status, and we went to Syria.
How long did you live in Syria, and what were you doing for work?
Well, I was there from 2006 to 2009. As a refugee, you're not allowed to work there. So it was very difficult. So to get by, you'd have to do things like maybe buying and selling cars, or maybe transporting goods across the border to Iraq and selling them over there, sort of business like that. And we got some assistance at times from the Syrian government.
Why did you eventually come back to Iraq?
Things began to get more stable in Iraq, so we thought of going back to Iraq.
The American invasion in 2003, how did the situation change for you, the security situation? Did you fear for your life after the Americans invaded?
Yes, the security situation was bad at that time, so I was fearful for my family.
Talk to me about your journey from Iraq to Turkey. Was that a tough journey? Was it a difficult journey?
No, it wasn't that difficult. First, I had to go to Erbil. I got a visa to go to Erbil, and then from there, I went to Turkey.
What was your life like in Turkey with you and your family? Just talk to me in general about your life there and how it was and what you did. So actually life was very difficult in Turkey. Actually, over there I was the victim of a scam. I got scammed and my money was stolen, so I had to sort of start all over and work very hard just to be able to afford the basic necessities of life for myself and my family there. It seems like you met a lot of great friends, though. The friends that I've been reading that have been speaking on your behalf, they seem like you had good times with them, barbecues, you spent some time at the beach. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Well, at first, we had some money, so we could afford to go out, but after I lost my money over there, the trips and excursions were much less, but the only silver lining in this scam and the scammer is that this scammer allowed me to get to know some really good friends, and we all became friends because we got scammed together, and we've been good friends ever since. Your friends, in the declarations that they've given to Ben and his investigators, they say it was, that all of these things that you've been accused of are impossible. You're not that type of person, and they wouldn't have stood up for you and came forward if they thought you were. But they also talked about how it was your dream. It was always your dream to come, to leave Iraq and provide better for your family. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, even though in Iraq, relatively speaking, we were okay and we were well off. My family had some land, and of course, you had to work hard. However, I always dreamt of a better life for my children, especially. I didn't want them to have to work as hard as I would have to, the long hours that I did. I dreamt of them growing up in a country that's completely safe, where I can be secure about their future and where they are not vulnerable to any danger, as was the case in my home country. So I felt that dream that we're talking about when I came to America. After I came to America, I spent 4 years here where I really felt literally like I was living the dream. I spent 4 years here without any issue, not even a traffic ticket, and I've always been there for my friends and helped people and my neighbors, and I've made new friends here, and everybody will tell you that I'm about helping people and helping others.
So when you were in Turkey, why did you decide that you wanted to resettle in another country? It didn't have to be America at that point, but was there a decision that you wanted to go to Europe or the United States?
في الحقيقة بتركيا كان يعني أنظر إلى
In Turkey, I was thinking of my family. I was looking at my family and I would feel sad. I would feel that my children really didn't have a future there. Education-wise, I would feel that they were missing a lot of opportunities. If I thought about myself, I could cope and survive there, but thinking about my family and their future, it would really sadden me that I felt they did not have a good future there.
All of the things that I've read, that you took your responsibilities in Turkey very seriously. You made it to all of your appointments. You were always on time. You were always doing what you were told when it comes to resettlement and things like that. Is that how you remember it?
Yes, I was always, following the law very strictly there, doing whatever I was told to the letter. We had to sign every week to prove that we were there, and I had to abide by the law completely.
Tell me about the feeling when you heard that you were going to be resettled in the United States.
That moment was the dream come true. It was the dream come true.
I've met a few refugees and talked to them about their experience through the vetting process. As I understand it, it's a very long and arduous process. Going through all those interviews. Can you tell me a little bit about how you were feeling during that process?
Yes, it was really tough. There was a very vigorous vetting process, and a lot of people would, come to the very last step and then be denied. So until the very last moment, you're stressed. You don't know whether you're going to succeed or whether you're going to be refused. And until, that final moment when you've succeeded, you're always under stress.
So what has your life been like now that you've been in Sacramento for couple of years now? Tell me about your life here in Sacramento. What do you do, in your spare time? What were you doing for work?
Sacramento يعني مدينة جميلة Sacramento.
So Sacramento is a very beautiful city. I fell in love with it completely. I started working here with FedEx, and then I worked as a car mechanic for a while, and then I began becoming an Uber driver.
Talk to me about the friendships you've made and what you and your family do, when you're not working.
نعم كان عندي الكثير من الأصدقاء والأقارب يعني هنا بساكرامنتو.
So I made a lot of friends here in Sacramento, of course, and I do have some relatives here, and most of my free time I would spend with my immediate family, and then we'd go to the park with friends, have barbecues, picnics.
What was going through your mind when the FBI and federal agents showed up at your home? What was that feeling like?
So, that was That was really tough. I was asleep. I remember it very well. It was a very tough moment. My son knocked on the door of my bedroom and said, the police wants to take you away. And it was the worst moment of my life, definitely. And I didn't understand for what, for something I didn't do and did not understand at all.
And what were you telling your family in those moments before you were able, before you were taken away?
I was very scared, actually, and I didn't know when I was going to see them again. They're very young. My children are very young. My wife has limited English. They're all completely dependent on me. So I was, in those moments, a lot was going through my head. I was very, very worried about them and about not seeing them for who knows how long. We don't have close relatives that I can truly depend on to take care of my family while I'm away from them, unfortunately.
The Iraqi government and the FBI have accused you of committing the most heinous crimes against Iraqi citizens and security forces, including planting IEDs, robbery, kidnapping, and killing Iraqi army soldiers during planned attacks. How do you respond to these allegations?
These are all fabricated allegations that have absolutely nothing to do with reality. I stayed in Turkey for about 3 years. I never left Turkey for a single moment during those entire 3 years.
Have you ever killed anyone?
No, never. I have friends from my town of Rawa, where I grew up, that I've known since childhood. I have never in my life even been in a fight with anybody since childhood. You can talk to them. They will tell you that I have great relations with everybody in Rawa. Everybody knows me over there. Everybody likes me over there, and my relationship is really good with everybody in town.
Have you ever been affiliated with Al-Qaeda in Iraq, ISIS, or any other terrorist organization?
No, not for a day. I was working as a truck driver mainly, transporting goods and doing business across the border between Iraq and Syria and Jordan sometimes. I had nothing to do with groups like that.
Did you ever meet with Abu Musab al-Zarqawi?
No.
Do you know of any reason why anybody would accuse you of these things?
No. No.
When you watched the news and saw what Daesh was doing in Iraq, in Syria, how did that make you feel?
I felt sad about what was happening to Iraq.
If you are extradited to Iraq, do you think you'll receive a fair trial?
I don't know. I hope I get a fair trial. Because I didn't do anything wrong. And everybody knows it.
How have you been keeping in touch with your family while you've been in here? What has that relationship been like for you?
It's been very difficult for them to come visit me logistically. I have only one friend left who is still helping out with that. When he's able to, he brings my wife to see me. Sometimes it's 3 months between visits. I call them every day, but visiting is very difficult for her. And when I call them, I feel better, but then I feel really sad.
What has life been like for you in here? How have you been holding up? What do you do with your days? What goes through your mind?
Honestly, I've been living with nightmares all the time. I can't say that I have truly slept for one single day. I close my eyes, I begin to see people around me talking. And when I start talking to them, they disappear. I've been living very, very difficult days and nights here.
أتحدث مع ابني.
I sometimes talk on the phone to my son, and he asks me,
هل ستخرج؟
are you ever getting out?
حقيقة لا أدري.
And I don't even have an answer for that. I don't know what to tell him. I don't know myself. I really don't know what to say. So I'm in the unknown.
You had a dream to come to America, to provide, to give your children a better life, to give your family a better life, and this happens. Did you ever think that your dream would turn out like this?
I lived a very safe and secure life in the middle of my family, seeing my children every day. We would take trips to different states. In reality, by coming here, my dream did come true. But I had no idea that the dream would turn out like this and that.
What do you want people, not only here in Sacramento, but around the United States, around the world, to know about what you're going through right now and about the truth?
يعني أريد أن يعرفون إنه
I want them to know that I'm innocent of all these charges that I am being accused of, and they have no connection to reality whatsoever. I'm a person who loves to do good. I love to do good and help others. I never thought or would think of hurting anybody at any time. All I wanted was to live in peace with my family and make sure that they had a nice future.
After all of this, you know, whatever happens, do you still want to stay here?
نعم.
Yes.
Why?
لماذا?
لأن هنا ما هم
Because this country is not responsible for me being put in jail.
هذا البلد.
What do you think will happen if you are extradited to Iraq?
أخاف يعني أول
Yes, I am scared. I am scared of being executed.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you still would like to express?
Only that I really hope that the judge will look deeply into the case, because there is so much evidence that exonerates me completely.
Omar, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. I really do.
أنا أشكرك أيضا.